I tripled my salary transitioning from working in fashion to tech. No, I don't know how to code, and no, I didn't go back to school, but I was just smart and strategic and intentional, and you can be too. So if you're working in the creative industry or a job that isn't paying you what you're worth and you're too scared to pivot because tech sounds scary, this video is for you. So let's just get this out of the way first before you guys ask. Tech isn't only about coding. I don't code, never have. There are plenty of other roles and jobs in the tech industry, and I'm pretty confident that there is room for whatever it is that you do right now. So let's just talk about some of the ways that you can make that pivot. First things first, transferable skills are everything. What are you doing right now in your current role that you can apply to tech? So in my fashion role, I've worked with clients, I've managed projects, and I've led teams. And that's what got me in the door for my first tech job. First thing I did was get very clear on my transferable skills. So project management, client communication, vendor relationships, process optimization. And then I just started asking myself, like, how do these same skills show up in the tech industry? You need to get obsessed with reading job descriptions. So what I would do is I would look at tech companies that I wanted to work at, and I would literally just look at their careers page like every day just to see what sort of roles they were hiring for. You want to go through a couple of roles and see whatever is the closest or most similar to what you're currently doing in your job now. While I was doing my research, I noticed that a lot of tech companies were hiring for partnership managers. They wanted people to be able to work with their clients and manage partnerships, manage projects, lead teams. Ding, ding, ding. I was already doing that work in my current role. So I just went through the job description and looked for what requirements they were looking for and identified the gaps in the skills that I didn't have. And then what you want to do in your current job is start raising your hand for projects that are going to help you develop those skills that the tech jobs are looking for. So for example, let's say the tech job wants you to have a lot of experience working cross-functionally with other partners, right? And that's something that you don't currently do. Is there a project in your current company right now that you can raise your hand for that is going to give you those skills where you're going to be interfacing with other teams? And that's really basically how you can build those skills. So look through job descriptions, identify a role that's close to what you're doing right now or something that you're interested in that could be something you're doing, identify any skill gaps and see how you can work on those skills while you're still in your current job. So now you have those skills, but it's not only important to have them, you need to know how to communicate them to the recruiters at those tech companies. This was a key piece I was missing when I was trying to apply to those tech roles. I wasn't able to use my resume to properly communicate to recruiters that I was a good fit for the role. And it's all about using the same language that those tech recruiters understand, right? Because when they're looking at your resume, they don't really understand who you are. They don't background. They're literally just looking at a piece of paper amongst 1,000 pieces of paper and trying to understand, okay, based on what I'm reading right now, is this person a good fit for the role or not? Especially if you're coming from a fashion role or another industry where they don't understand the terminology, they don't know the companies you've worked for. They just want to know like, okay, does she have the things that I'm looking for in this job description? So you want to make sure you're using the same type of language that they understand and that they used in the job description. Let's say you work a fashion job and in your resume you wrote, I styled clients and manage appointments, okay? How do you translate that for the recruiter? Why don't you use the language that they understand and use? Instead of just saying styled clients and manage appointments, you can say something like manage client relationships, streamline workflows, and led cross-functional collaboration. Like you're saying the same thing, but just in the language that they understand. Go by your resume line item by line item and look for those skills that you can reword into the lingo that tech uses. Please, y'all, if you're using the same resume for every single role you apply to, I want you to stop that right now. You need to tailor resume to every single job you're applying for. Really look in the job description and make sure that whatever keywords they say they're looking for, you have them in your resume. Make it easy for the recruiter who's looking at your resume to know instantly that you're a good fit for the role. They're not going to be like perusing through and being like, oh, well, she said this, maybe that means this, or she worked on this, so maybe that means she's a good fit for this. And you need to spell it out for them. Another key part about being able to pivot industries like I did is networking. It's all about networking because think about it. You've spent years in one job function or one industry and now you want to move to a completely different one where you don't know many people, you don't have the same type of connection, so you need to network. And LinkedIn is a great resource for this. So what I did was at certain companies that I knew that I wanted to apply to or work at, I would reach out to people in the sort of roles that I was looking to apply to and just send like a cold message, introducing myself, letting them know that I was looking to pivot in that industry and like, hey, do you just have 20 minutes to have a quick chat so I can learn more about your role and like how to pivot into this industry or something like that. So just reach out to people. You'll probably get a lot of no's, but a couple people say yes, and use that as a perfect opportunity to network and meet people, but also have genuine questions for them. Like, you're trying to actually move to a different industry. So you also probably have questions about what it really is like to work in that industry or work in that job or role function. So use that opportunity to ask those questions. Because another key part about getting a tech job is referrals. These companies have thousands of people applying to those roles. And what a lot of people won't tell you is that a referral may be the only way to actually get your resume seen by a recruiter. So if you don't know anyone at the company you want to apply to or in the industry, try to network and reach out to people, because if, they get a good vibe from you, or if that becomes someone that you can, build a real relationship with, next time you see a job opening at their company, you can ask like, hey, I saw this role that I think I'm a good fit for. Is it possible for you to refer me? I was actually pleasantly surprised by this, but a lot more people are willing to help you than you realize when you come in a genuine manner and you're respectful and polite about it and professional. The very final step is your mindset and believing that you can actually pivot careers. I think I talk to people a lot that are like, I just don't think I can do it. Like, it's too late. I didn't go to school for it. No, you can't have that mindset. You have to believe that you can do it, because you're probably going to be met with a lot of no's. When I got my first tech job, I had been applying for probably 4 or 5 years before I finally got in. And that was just me getting a lot of no's, a lot of rejections, and then figuring out these things that I needed to do. So things like identifying transferable skills, working on developing new skills, changing my resume, changing how I interview. And 4 or 5 years later, I got my first tech job. So you have to be able to believe that you can do it and stay the course even when you get no's, because I promise you can do it. You just have to believe that you can and put in the work to do it. If you're serious about pivoting from fashion or any industry into tech, here's your blueprint. Identify your transferable skills, study job descriptions from tech companies that you admire, build those skills in your current role, rewrite your resume to match the language of tech, network like crazy, ask for referrals strategically and respectfully. All right, lovelies, thank you so much for watching today's video. I love to make videos about building your dream life and becoming your dream self. Let me know in the comments if you're trying to pivot your career, or if you have pivoted your career, what worked for you. Let me know. Say hello. I love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video.